Hey folks, Tom Bell here with your Diz Daily Fix for Wednesday, May 16th, 2018. Here is what's happening today. Coming up May 21st, that marks the 6 months since John Lasseter, co-founder of Pixar Animation Studios, began his voluntary leave of absence after accusations were brought forward of unwanted workplace hugging and other, quote, missteps. According to the Wall Street Journal, executives at the Walt Disney Company have had a discussion on bringing Lasseter back to work in a capacity that reduces his supervisory ability, but would still allow him to utilize his creative influences without the liability that would come from his being in charge of thousands of employees. Disney, of course, has not given any indication as to whether or not Lasseter will return. Pixar Animation Studios and Walt Disney Animation have managed to adapt to operating in his absence, although according to some employees there, they are not aware of who will lead them in the future, which poses a tricky situation for the company. Since Lasseter began his leave and withdrew from public view, the Wall Street Journal reports that, quote, his absence has been felt in every corner of Disney's animation business. Journal continues, quote, though he personally directed only 5 movies, the last one in 2011, he consulted on every movie at Pixar and Disney Animation, weighing in anywhere from every few weeks to every few months, depending on how smoothly production was running, employees said. Approval from Mr. Lasseter was necessary to move past key benchmarks in writing, storyboarding, production, and editing. Now Disney, this is still quoting, now Disney is relying primarily on a panel of artists, producers, and executives at each studio to make creative decisions, and that's according to current and former employees. A more diffused approach than Mr. Lasseter's arrangement, end quote. A representative for John Lasseter did not respond to the Wall Street Journal's request for comment. In other news, we have more information about the Star Wars Galactic Nights event happening on May 27th at Disney's Hollywood Studios. This hard-ticket event will feature a panel discussion entitled Inside Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. The panel will include several Walt Disney Imagineers working on the much-anticipated project. Guests will hear about the progress of the upcoming land, new details about the planet Batuu, and other surprises Disney has not yet announced. The panel will include Star Wars Galaxy's Edge portfolio creative executive Scott Trowbridge, creative director Eric Baker, executive producer John Georges, and managing story editor Margaret Carrison. It was also announced that actor Warwick Davis will return as the official Galactic Nights event host. Davis, of course, gained fame with his role as Wicket in Star Wars Return of the Jedi, but has had roles in several other Star Wars films. Tickets for the event are still on sale and run $129 for adults and $114 for kids, with discounts available for annual pass holders and DVC members. Finally, today, Disney Cruise Line representatives were recently on site in Tortola to evaluate the island's recovery efforts after last fall's Hurricane Irma, which forced Disney and other cruise lines to adjust their Eastern Caribbean itineraries, including canceling stops in Tortola. At the moment, Disney is concerned with the island's ability to accept cruise ship passengers and keep them safe. Disney Cruise Line Director of Port Operations and Development Russell Daya claimed that Tortola has to achieve more with its recovery efforts, but that it is, quote, definitely moving in the right direction, end quote. Daya said that Disney is encouraged by repairs to the roads and removal of damaged vehicles and vegetation debris, but is still concerned about the potential for accidents due to other damaged areas and continuing construction zones. Disney has asked for weekly reports, so it's not a matter of if, but when the Disney Fantasy will return to Tortola. Today's featured article on the Diz comes from Rob Zwetsloot, who has some tips for solo travelers. In his article, Can You Dine Alone at Ohana and Other Walt Disney World Restaurants? Also, something new today on the Diz. In addition to Rob's article, beginning today, we will be sharing a series of regularly scheduled columns focusing on all aspects of Disney from the point of view of our staff writers and editors. We get the ball rolling today with Jackie Gailey's Spoonful of Pixie Dust, where our resident optimist and senior content director doles out a much-needed dose of Disney magic to lighten your work week. In the coming weeks, you will also see columns each Wednesday from Steve Porter, Charles Boda, and myself, with more to be added in the future. You will find Jackie's Spoonful of Pixie Dust and also Rob's column and much, much more at wdwinfo.com. Trending on the Disboards today is a thread from poster Courtney1188, who is weathering the storms at Walt Disney World and is asking for tips. Check out her thread here now, how to change plans for weather in the theme parks, attractions, and strategies forum at disboards.com. Speaking of weather, thunderstorms continuing in Orlando tomorrow, high of 84, low of 71? That doesn't seem right. Sunny skies in Anaheim with a high of 71 and a low of 56. You can find links to all these stories and more on our Daily Fix main page at wdwinfo.com/dailyfix. That's going to do it for me today, but be sure to join us again tomorrow for the next installment of the Diz Daily Fix. Have a great day.